6 Whisker Secrets of the Hardhead Catfish. The hardhead catfish is a truly remarkable inhabitant of our oceans and estuaries. These fish are built for life in challenging environments, often navigating murky waters and complex underwater structures. But it's not just their sturdy build that makes them special, it's something far more subtle: their extraordinary whiskers. You might think of catfish whiskers as simple sensory tools, but these 6 long appendages on a hardhead catfish are incredibly sophisticated organs. They're covered in thousands of tiny receptors, allowing the fish to taste and smell their surroundings with astonishing precision. These receptors detect changes in water chemistry, things like dissolved oxygen or the presence of food particles. It essentially allows them to see in the dark, locate prey hidden amongst the mud, and even navigate complex landscapes using only these remarkable whiskers. Take a closer look at those impressive whiskers. They're far more than just decorative features on this hardhead catfish. They're incredibly sensitive sensory tools, acting almost like feelers in the water. The murky rivers and lakes these catfish inhabit often have extremely limited visibility, sometimes only a few inches. Because of that, sight isn't their primary way to understand their environment. These barbels, as they're officially called, are covered in thousands of tiny receptors that detect vibrations, chemical signals, and even subtle changes in water pressure. They allow the catfish to taste and smell their surroundings, pinpointing food sources like insects, crustaceans, and smaller fish hidden from view. It's a remarkable adaptation for survival in these challenging conditions. These remarkable whiskers aren't just for show, they're incredibly sensitive sensory tools. Imagine them as tiny underwater antennae, constantly scanning their surroundings. Each whisker is densely packed with specialized receptors called mechanoreceptors. Think of these as miniature vibration detectors. They pick up the slightest ripples in the water, subtle changes in pressure, even the faint movements of potential prey hiding in the mud. This allows the hardhead catfish to navigate murky waters and hunt effectively, essentially feeling its environment. These incredible whiskers aren't just for show, they're vital tools, allowing the hardhead catfish to navigate and hunt in murky waters where light barely penetrates. Imagine a world of near total darkness. That's their reality much of the time. These barbels, as we call them, are packed with sensory receptors that detect subtle vibrations, pressure changes, and even chemical cues in the water. The catfish constantly sweeps these whiskers back and forth, meticulously gathering information about its surroundings. It's like they're building a detailed 3-dimensional map of their environment using touch alone, an incredibly sophisticated system, allowing them to see without light, identifying obstacles, prey, and potential dangers. Hardhead catfish are incredibly sophisticated hunters, and they use a remarkable sense to find their food. They don't just rely on sight. Instead, they're masters of detecting subtle changes in the water, specifically hydrodynamic signatures. Imagine every living thing moving through the water creates a tiny ripple, a unique disturbance. The hardhead catfish can actually feel these disturbances and identify what's creating them. It doesn't matter if it's a tasty shrimp scuttling along the bottom, a crab hiding in the rocks, a gastropod slowly grazing on algae. or even larger fish each generates a distinct hydrodynamic profile. They can even differentiate between different types of algae and sea grasses based solely on how they move through the water current. This allows them to pinpoint prey hidden from view, making them highly effective predators in murky waters. These whiskers aren't just for feeling around in murky water, they're incredibly sensitive detectors of danger. Imagine a slight disturbance, a subtle shift in the current caused by something large moving nearby. These catfish can pick up on that almost imperceptibly. It's an early warning system, triggering an immediate and instinctive escape response. They're essentially feeling for predators before they even see them, giving them a crucial advantage in avoiding becoming someone else's meal. This sensitivity allows them to react incredibly quickly to potential threats lurking in the shadows. These remarkable whiskers aren't just for show, they're incredibly sensitive tools that help hardhead catfish navigate and hunt in murky waters. You might notice them constantly twitching and rotating. It's a deliberate action. The catfish is actively maximizing its ability to sense vibrations, changes in water pressure, and even the faint scent of potential prey or predators. Think of it like this: they're continuously scanning their environment. This movement isn't random, either when a hardhead catfish is hunting for food or feeling threatened. Those whiskers become incredibly active, rotating and twitching at an accelerated pace to gather as much information as possible. Most catfish rely on a handful of whiskers to navigate and hunt, but the hardhead catfish takes this sensory ability to another level. They possess an impressive 6 long barbels, those whisker-like appendages around their mouth, each packed with specialized receptors. These aren't just for feeling, they're essentially tiny, highly sensitive antennas gathering a wealth of information about their surroundings. The barbels detect subtle changes in water pressure, temperature gradients, and even the faintest traces of scent. This incredible sensory detail is what allows hardhead catfish to flourish in intricate coastal environments like mangrove roots and submerged vegetation where visibility is often limited. It's truly remarkable how finely tuned a hardhead catfish's senses are. Those whiskers, those barbels we've been talking about, aren't just simple feelers, they're incredibly sensitive instruments. They allow the catfish to taste their surroundings in an entirely new way. The sensitivity is so high that these whiskers can even differentiate between various types of algae based on their surface texture, crucial for selecting optimal food sources. Imagine being able to tell, simply by touch, which patch of algae is most nutritious and palatable. That's the advantage hardhead catfish have. This sophisticated sensory ability helps them thrive in murky waters where visibility is limited. Take a closer look at these impressive whiskers. They're far more than just sensory feelers. These are specialized barbels, and in the hardhead catfish, they represent an incredible example of sensory evolution at work. Each whisker is packed with thousands of tiny receptors that detect subtle changes in water pressure and chemical composition. Imagine navigating a murky riverbed, completely reliant on these whiskers to locate food, insects, crustaceans, even smaller fish buried beneath the sediment. They're essentially living maps, allowing them to feel their surroundings in detail. The sheer density of those receptors is remarkable. It allows for incredibly precise identification and discrimination between potential meals. It really underscores how powerfully adaptation can shape an animal's ability to survive and thrive.